Alright, you guys, so Frank Tufano recently posted a video, I think he posted it today, claiming that the carnivore diet gave him hemochromatosis, or not hemochromatosis, but iron overload. He claims that all this time, all of his health problems were caused because he had extremely high iron levels in his blood, and he said that he was went to a hematologist and they cleared him for hemochromatosis, that he doesn't have hemochromatosis. So he doesn't have the disease that deposits iron in his tissues and is extremely pathogenic as far as iron levels are concerned, but he just had high levels of iron, so iron overload. He claimed that his blood levels of iron were 450 before he started getting his blood drawn. And he said that he got his blood drawn from 450 nanograms per deciliter all the way down to 18. Now, 18, you're basically running the numbers of someone who's iron deficient, who has anemia. Not that that should matter if you're eating a lot of meat, but the point is, he went from having, he didn't have high iron, so 450, that is at the very high end of the iron spectrum. Normal iron levels range from anywhere from 50 nanograms per deciliter up to about 500. And so 450 nanograms per deciliter, that is very high, but that's still within the normal range. Now, whether the upper range is, pathogenic or symptomatic or not, that's up for debate. The point is, though, it's very important to point out 450 is not considered high or not considered outside the normal range, higher than the normal range. It's still within the normal range. Although, the thing is, obviously Frank Tufano has been sick for quite some time. And he's been trying all sorts of things trying to figure out what's wrong with his health. Now, if you ask me, I've made videos where I basically said he probably has a imbalance of sodium, potassium. He has a mineral imbalance. It definitely seemed that way, and iron is a mineral. But I think his beliefs on sodium and potassium is what was causing it all along. Now, he claims that ever since he started getting his blood drawn and dropping his iron levels down, that his symptoms have been getting better. And he says he switched to pork and chicken and whatnot over the last 3 months, and he feels a lot better. So what's most important is that Frank Tufano feels better. But the thing is, this kind of reminds me a little bit of Vegetable Police, where Vegetable Police has these health problems, and he changes his diet, and he tries all these supplements and all these protocols and things. And every single time he changes the protocol, he says, "Oh, I'm better. I'm healthier now. I've found the fucking solution to my problem." And then a couple months later, come to find out that wasn't actually the solution to his problem. He didn't actually fix his problem. And Frank Tufano, from what I remember, has he'll change something in his diet, and then he'll be like, "Yeah, I feel so much better. You guys need to get on this. You guys need to be aware of this." And people are dumbfounded by the fact that they're like, "Oh shit, I thought you solved that problem already." But he's talking like he's actually found the actual cause. So we'll see. Now, the thing about this is, number one, we don't really know if Frank Tufano has been suffering from iron overload for longer than the carnivore diet. And mind you, 450 nanograms per deciliter is not considered abnormally high. But it is at the very high range, and if his symptoms are getting better now, then it definitely could be, and the high range, he's still at the very high range, so that is, compared to the average population, I believe, have average iron levels around 200, or 180, 200. So that is double what the average population. You'd expect that from eating a lot of red meat. I have seen a lot of people who reverse the symptoms of hemochromatosis and actually lower their iron levels by eating an all-meat diet. I've seen people claim that. on the World Carnivore Tribe. So maybe that's Sean Baker, like, creating accounts. I'm kidding. Now, the question here is, should you worry about iron overload on a carnivore diet? So again, I don't follow a carnivore diet anymore, although I will most likely start eating only meat if I need to save money. But the main thing here is, what I've noticed is people who get iron overload and they have extreme problems from it, especially, but just people who have iron overload, they tend to be consuming iron, and the iron, I don't know, I don't give a fuck how to say it properly, okay? Grammar please go suck a dick. But basically, most people with iron overload, they're consuming large amounts of iron fortified foods. A popular fitness YouTuber named Juji Mufu, he's well known for eating lots of cream of rice, and cream of rice is supplemented with like 10% of your daily iron intake per serving, and that guy will take like 4 packets at a time and eats that every day. Commercialized big name cereals are fortified with iron and other minerals that are very hard for the body to get rid of. Supplemental iron is a huge problem, and I personally believe that supplemental iron is one of the main causes of many diseases in our population right now, even more than sugar even. I mean, maybe not. I mean, maybe it's on par. Because supplemental iron, I believe, is toxic. I would say it's toxic, unless you have a deficiency, of course. If you have a deficiency, it's a lifesaver. But if you don't, if you're a man and you're taking supplemental iron, there's a lot of men's multivitamins that have iron in it. Kids are eating cereals fortified with iron. White rice, that's Americanized rice, not jasmine or basmati, is supplemented with iron. Cereals supplement iron. Like some oatmeals are supplemented with iron. Fucking ramen noodles, pastas, white pastas are supplemented with iron. White flour is supplemented with iron. And so what I'm saying here is, you know, you got to be real careful about supplemental iron. And if you cook in cast iron, I mean, you're getting elemental iron in there. Now the other thing is, there might be a risk of greater iron increases for some people with red meat. And maybe for a lot of people, who knows, maybe I have high iron levels. Maybe I should go get those checked. I've thought about that before. I really have. Now, but the thing here is, another thing is, if you're on a ketogenic diet and you experience the symptoms of iron overload, besides joint pain, okay, those could have other things, are very similar to the keto flu and mineral imbalance and chronic inefficient, let's say, fuel utilization. So if someone is hovering in and out of glycotic function, like let's say that they're eating just enough carbs to keep them out of ketosis, or let's say that they're eating in a way that prevents ketosis but doesn't give them enough carbohydrates to fuel the body, they will feel like they have iron overload. They might even have joint pain. Another thing I want to mention, because I can only make a 10-minute video with this damn camera, is Frank Tufano talking about candida, talking about how candida and fungal overgrowth is like a defense mechanism against heavy metals and things. Look, there is like hardly any evidence whatsoever that is actually true, or that it actually happens, or that it's actually valid. I'd be very, very skeptical about what you hear from Frank Tufano, and also I'd love to see his blood test. If he doesn't post blood tests about this, it's hard for me to really take his word for granted, or take his word as gospel. I think with the videos he's made about working out and exercising, the debates he's had with Vegan Gains, I think that Frank Tufano needs to chill the fuck out and think about all this first. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes back this video in the next couple months.